Oh, shit.
Hmm.
Oh, Snikes. What's going on?
Oh.
All you Marvel movie maniacs out there, Movie Dojo Army representing. What's going on? It's your boy, Fat Samurai Guy, with
Who am I?
She's Alive! Lady Fat
Does
Blood.
anybody know who I am? Who is this?
What is going? Who are you? How'd you get in my house?
I don't know.
What's happening? What is going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Make sure, let us know you can hear us, by the way. Just want to make sure the sound is good. Let's see who's here in the house. We got Brolacan, AJ Mason, John Martinez, Rick in the house, Millennial Yoda. Oh, we got Rob from ETM. Entertainment Talk Nation is here. We got Jad in the house. What's going on, man? Seventh Mandalorian, Aldo Fonica. We scrolling down, Mr. L. If I miss your name, I'm sorry. There's a lot of people here. That's awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. D. Daly, Oscar in the house. What's going on? Lady Danish, Bob Odinson. Look at all these badasses showing up tonight. Jedi Grand Val in the house. The Briscoe, Eric Patterson. Oh, man, Tribal Chief is here. Holy moly, guacamole. They're all trickling in. Brad Feltz, Big Bad Wolf in the house. Tino in the house. Look at old Tino there. What's up, brother? How you doing? I already got a super chat from Nate Dogg. This is badass intro for Samurai Guy and Lady Fat Blood. Hey, that's what Samurai Guy does here. Trying to make it entertaining for you guys. Thank you for the shout out there. Psych in the house. Perry. Who else we got here? Desmond in the house. Steve. What's up, Steve? How are you doing? J.H. Ford. And just so many badasses. All right, we're going to keep going here. A lot of awesome people here tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We're talking spoilers, baby.
All the spoilers.
All of the spoilers. And anything we miss, make sure you guys point it out and remind us. Okay.
Spoilers. All of the spoilers.
All of them.
So
yes.
We have to warn you. This is, if you have not seen it, if you want to see it, this is not the video to watch. Because if you want any hope of surprises, go away.
Yes.
Normally we welcome you into the fold, but if you want to go into this surprise, please don't watch this.
Yes, spoilers only. Here, hold on. Let me help out here. Maybe I can add a little extra here. Hold on. All right, Tino, have a good one, brother. Hold on. Before we get into it here, let me do a little something here. Hold on. Just in case we have late stragglers coming in. All right. Whoop, spelled that wrong. Hold on. Okay. Let's try this now. Okay, hold on. Hey, there we go. In case we have any late stragglers just popping in, spoilers, guys. Spoilers. We're talking spoilers. But thank all of you. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on a Saturday night. Yes, sirree. We're getting ready to get into it just a little bit. All right, hold on. Let me get back to the badasses here. Look at old Rob up in here. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Man, this movie sucked. This was garbage. This was the worst superhero movie.
I was done with the MCU, and by God, I'm back.
Black Widow was way better than this. Yeah.
Women.
Woo! What's going on, guys? All right. Oh, this is the kind of comedy and humor you get here, man. Hold on. I think we freaked some people out that just came in here. All right. So we might bounce around. Let's see what's going on. Fluffy, you're fired. It's in
Fluffy, get out.
It's in it, my friend. It's in the title. It's in the description. It's in the thumbnail. So now we're gonna get into spoilers. Last warning.
Sorry, I'll never do that again.
Man, Lady Fatblood got metal, death metal up in here. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it here.
So, like we said in our spoiler-free discussion, and just to kind of reiterate, I've kind of been phasing out of Marvel.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Thanks for hanging out.
I think once Endgame was over, I knew my time with the MCU was kind of slowing down a bit.
Right, right.
I had some stakes left with Spider-Man because I did enjoy the first two films. So
Yeah.
I knew that the third film I was going to see. Doctor Strange, I had a little bit of stakes left in Guardians.
Right.
But some of the next stuff coming out, like I still haven't seen Shang-Chi. I had no interest in seeing the Eternals. The TV shows, but I've been very off and on with.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have no interest in Captain Marvel, so it's very hit and miss.
Right.
With what I am now invested in, and so when the trailer dropped for Spider-Man, all the rumors started coming out, and I was like, I don't put any stock into the rumors, and so I didn't pay attention to what they were saying. It's like, well, if the rumors are true, that's great, but I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Hold your breath. Right.
And so I just saw the one main trailer.
Right.
Stayed away from all the TV spots, and the one main trailer was enough. I saw Doc Ock, I saw Electro, which I was very surprised with because I'm like, wow, we're doing the multiverse.
Yeah.
We got Doctor Strange in here, which I'm like, okay, we're going to build on Doctor Strange a little bit, which is nice.
Right.
Get him a little bit more before he gets his own film, but he's also going to have his movie with, Wanda's going to be brought into his next film, which I'm like, okay, we're really expanding on his next movie, which is always good.
Right.
Seeing Doc Ock and Electro. So I'm like, wow, we're bringing in Toby's villains. We're bringing in Andrew Garfield's villains. I'm like, wow, what are we doing? This is kind of interesting. We thought we saw Sandman in the trailer, and it's like, okay, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
What are we getting?
Lizard. We see some lizard.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything we saw in the trailer, I was like, okay, my interest is piqued, but I'm not going to get too excited.
Right.
Because trailers are notorious cock teasers.
That's what they do.
And
that's what they do.
Yeah. And if the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer taught us anything, is that you just don't get your hopes up. I know Marvel tries to be a little not so nefarious, but this is also Sony we're dealing with. I know Marvel is a little bit more highbrow They're not as much of a liar as Sony is, but Sony is involved.
Right.
And I don't trust Sony.
Right.
I don't trust Sony films.
Yeah.
So, I should have known better. But
yeah,
I was wary. I was cautious. I was hopeful but cautious. So going in, my expectations were tapered. I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And
I know, right? We're gonna get into it in a second. Really quick, don't want to miss any super chats. Shout out to Perry Campbell. Thanks again for supporting the channel, my friend. I still say you should wait. I still say you should wait, and whenever you're able to go to see the movie in the future, definitely check it out. But if you want to hang out with us, man, we really appreciate you hanging out. Thanks again for the super chat, my friend. Yes, so I have seen 2 of the trailers. I did some trailer reactions here on the channel, and I was like, wow, this looks like this could be fun. Like, all right, let's see if they pull it off. I was like you. I was expecting to go in and have fun. Right? I was expecting to go in, hey, that was fun. We had fun, and we go home and later pre-order the Blu-ray because it was a fun romp. I was not expecting it to be better than fun. Like, this movie was fucking epic, man. Like, it was phenomenal. Like, I was not expecting it to have the emotional beats to it, the musical scores, which we'll get into a little bit later. And, Easter eggs for the fans and just all kinds of and a lot of people, again, are complaining about, well, a lot of the comedy wasn't needed. There was too much comedy on, but then you're complaining about every Marvel movie ever made. And like every Marvel movie ever made, some of the comedy is fucking hilarious. And some of it, it's always hit or miss. That kind of comes with the territory. But this movie really just it exceeded our expectations, which for you was none. For me, I was expecting just a fun watch. this really blew us away. And I don't think we've seen any movies twice this year. Have we?
No.
Yeah, for the whole year 2021, we have not seen movies twice. Even movies we really enjoyed, we have not gone back to see it again. We're going to see this motherfucker again.
Yeah.
We're going to see this again. That's how entertaining this movie was. And hold on, we got another super chat. Thank you, Jedi. Shout out. Thanks for the super chat. Marvel's more conservative when it comes to advertising. There you go. Yes, for sure. All right, let's jump into it. Spoiler talk. Here we go. All right. So takes place right after.
Yeah.
It leaves off, the second movie left off. This third film, we're jumping right after the second film. When you have basically Peter Parker being outed and framed by Mysterio from the last movie. And everyone knows he's Peter Parker now. So, you got our boy, Jonah Jameson here. I love how Jonah Jameson, when you first see him, it looks like at first, it's looking like a regular newscast type of deal he's going on. And then later in the movie, he's just sitting at home with some lights and he's just in a green screen behind him. That was pretty funny. And then later, he got his little newscasting on, but it was kind of funny seeing that. It was just all a ruse. It's just green screen. But yeah, he's a menace. Spider-Man is a menace. And so, everyone in the whole city is like, oh, holy shit. We know who Peter Parker is. We know where he lives. You even have some Mysterio fanboys going around. Mysterio was right. They kept saying that throughout the movie and stuff and shit like that.
Right.
And so, Peter Parker and Mary Jane are like, oh, fuck, we got to get out of here.
MJ. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, MJ. Sorry, MJ. Are like, fuck, we got to, holy shit, the shit's just got real, things have now gotten really awkward, especially when they go back to school with Ned and everybody knows who he is, who his friends are, and all that stuff. Even the principal and everybody, the principal made like a shrine, like a Spider-Man shrine. The students did this for you, and they're like, no, man, you did that. He's like, make sure you take a look at the shrine, Peter, before you if you need to swing around the school to get to classes a lot quicker, by all means, go ahead. So you have this comedic moments throughout the movie here and there, but want to talk about before we get to the first huge pop, and we were like, oh my god, it's legit, it's confirmed. Anything lead up to that before we get to the pop?
Well,
am I missing anything else?
Well, not much. I mean, the basic plots of that. Which parts?
Oh, Aunt May and Happy broke up. Yeah. They're not together anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are we missing leading up to the first big?
Know what the first pop is? No, it's your boy.
Nothing's really leading up to that, I guess.
I don't think we're missing anything. We can get to that though. But it's basically there's helicopters outside the apartment complex. Like the whole world knows who Peter Parker is, where he lives.
Right.
And it's just crazy. And then we get our first pop in. I'll let you explain the first pop, and the theater went nuts.
So they all start getting dragged in by kind of like it's not like the FBI. It's not like an official. I don't remember the name of the actual government agency, but a government agency starts dragging everybody in one by one, and they start going to each individual one by one and starts attacking them in different ways, saying, oh, well, when did you know that Peter Parker was da-da-da? And they go to Peter Parker and they start saying, oh, da-da-da. And every one of them says, I want my lawyer. I want my legal representation. I know my rights.
Right.
And then they go to Aunt May and they're like basically threatening her as a legal guardian and questioning her as a parental figure and all that. And the next thing you see is Peter Parker and May back in their apartment. And this was the first major massive pop that happened, and this was the first time in a long time I've heard audience members actually gasp.
Yeah.
Actually audibly, loudly gasp and have a reaction in the theater, which was one of the things that I probably forgot can happen in a theater. When a collective group of people who know and love the thing that we're all watching can actually like get together and be like, oh yeah, I forgot that this is what can happen when people love something like you do.
Right.
You see a cane pop up
Yeah,
in the foreground, and all of a sudden you pan up and there's Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock.
Fucking Daredevil, son. What?
And
fucking Daredevil. Are you kidding me right now?
And
which is kind of funny if you think about it, because Happy used to be
right.
Foggy Nelson. So it's kind of funny if you think about it. But this is fucking amazing right now.
Right. And it was so nice to see him as Daredevil, not as Daredevil, but as Murdock, because for the longest time they were kind of disavowing the TV show of Daredevil, Netflix's Daredevil. We don't know why. I don't know
that whole universe,
right?
Punisher, Luke Cage,
and it seemed like it was probably because of it was a Netflix and a rights thing. I don't know, and you know, I was really concerned about that whole situation, because it's like you can't disavow something that was so good and went on for so long.
Yeah,
and you know, okay, it was mature rated. You know, it's like it was violent as hell, but it was legitimately good.
It was amazing. Yeah,
you had amazing characters and amazing writing. You had all this effort put into it, and you're going to just dismiss all of that. Of all the things to dismiss, you're really going to get rid of that,
right?
And Charlie and D'Onofrio, especially those two, were so invested in their two characters respectively, and even John Bernthal as Punisher was so invested in those characters, and you're just going to chuck them like that. That just seems so wrong.
Now, we have not seen Hawkeye yet. We heard the rumors, so we're going to binge watch Hawkeye next week, and we'll do a review for you guys, okay? But we heard the rumors about Kingpin, so but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Charlie Cox is telling that Matt Murdock is telling them their options and how, you know, you need a lawyer and this is why, and all of a sudden a brick comes smashing through and Peter Parker goes to catch it, and obviously they're under the impression that Matt Murdock is blind because he's got his cane and his glasses, and all of a sudden Matt Murdock catches the brick.
It was fucking great, man.
And they're all looking at him like, what the hell? And Peter's like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And Matt's like, I'm a good lawyer.
He's like, I'm a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
But that was great. Them giving his character some shine, man. He just was like a straight gangster, just like, boom. Yeah. What? I grabbed a brick. Here you go.
Yeah.
On the brick, it says Mysterio was right. You still have these Mysterio fanboys now.
Right.
But yeah, it was fucking great, man.
Yeah.
It was amazing seeing, just because you know, when you hear, well, he might be in it, or they may not be in it. They might be in it. They may not be in it. That was actually kind of getting on my goddamn nerves.
Because how many times have we heard that?
Because I'm like, dude, can we see the fucking movie?
Yeah,
you know,
other films we've heard that.
So it's like, but actually, even though everybody has their theories and like, ooh, he might be in the movie, that's awesome. But at the same time, until you actually see it on screen, it's just a totally different experience. And, you know, it's just like, holy shit, here we go.
And in our case,
which gets better later in this movie.
And in our case, if it's not concrete and they're trying to keep it a surprise, I want to be surprised,
right?
You know, and it's like, you know, if you don't have videos out there implicitly saying like us, hey, this is a spoiler review, this is a spoiler discussion, stay out of here if you haven't seen it and you don't want the video. If you don't want the movie spoiled, stay away from this video,
right?
You know,
right? And
we don't have thumbnails showing every single spoiler that has to do with the video, with the movie. Stay away from it.
Right,
you know?
Right.
That's, you know, now it's like you go to IMDb and you go to Google and the casting listing, and now every single cast member that's in the film, it's there. So it's going to get spoiled.
It's going to get spoiled.
Yeah.
But before we move on from that awesome little scene there, quick super chat. Thank you, Bo, for the super chat. He says J.K. Simmons was in the Raimi multiverse, then makes a cameo in From Far From Home. Didn't understand how he was in the Holland multiverse as Jameson. When we first saw him in Far From Home, I was laughing hysterically because I thought they just for shits and giggles, it was just for fan service, and they just threw him in there just for fun, right? Obviously, it's more than that, but you could say he's just a Jonah Jameson of the MCU, because he does look a little different. His hair's different, so you could look at it like that.
Yeah,
they look similar.
If you follow the What If series,
which we're catching up on watching now, by the way.
Yeah. The What If series kind of has that, where everybody kind of has similarities but differences.
Right.
So, and in this film, as we'll get into, There are some universes where the Avengers don't exist. So,
right.
Whereas other universes, we've had multiple versions of the Avengers, and they do exist, and they just don't.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what the multiverse is.
It's
a host of possibilities, and who knows. So yeah, in this universe, it's just Jameson.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the Jameson from the Tobyverse.
The Tobyverse. This we're gonna call it the Sonyverse to make it a little bit easier here.
Well, there's two different Sony verses then, because there's Garfield and Toby.
Oh yeah, that's all right.
I'll just call it the Tobyverse.
There you go, Tobyverse. That makes it easier. But yeah, this was awesome to see. And then things get a little, for our main characters, they're getting a little depressed and sad because of their, because everybody knows who Peter Parker is. It's Peter Parker's affected. And his friends are affected in terms of applying for.
They apply to all these schools. They all get rejected. The main school they want to get into is MIT.
Right.
There's no real reason for them to not get in, except for the fact that now all these controversial events have happened.
Yeah.
And they even implicitly state that because of these controversial events, we can't really let you in.
Right.
And so that's when Peter goes to Doctor Strange and is like, hey, do you think you can make this spell that lets everybody forget what's going on?
Yeah.
And that's when Strange casts the spell. It's like, hey, we got this history. And you find out that Doctor Strange is no longer the Sorcerer Supreme.
Did you notice his performance? I mean, excuse me. Benedict Cumberbatch, his performance is he's great in this movie. He's really good. But you notice he's kind of a little bit more laid back in the beginning because he's technically not in charge anymore.
Right.
So that's why he's kind of like chilling, got his coat on, he's drinking a little mug,
he's kind of
he's not in charge. Wong's in charge now.
Right. Right.
So
yeah, he's kind of just like not in a bathrobe, but kind of like if he was just chilling in his boxer shorts.
Yeah.
He's still super powerful, but he's no longer the Sorcerer Supreme because when he got blipped, somebody had to take over, and now that's Wong's job.
Wong now, yeah. But before we move on here, really quick, I was never a Doctor Strange fan in the comics. When I used to read comic books back in the day, I wasn't really a fan. Like I knew he was powerful and he was like a big deal, but I wasn't like a fan. Like I didn't go out and buy the comics. The Doctor Strange movie came out. We saw it in the theater. We were entertained by it. We liked it. And I think that movie is a little bit underrated now because it's not just, it's the Inception movie. Marvel made an Inception movie. That kind of stuff's annoying. It's a little bit more than the Inception movie, just because and in my opinion, I think the whole visuals with the mind-bending abilities of the city is actually more creative and actually more impressive than Inception. I might get a little flack for that. But the movie's a lot more than it's in the Inception movie. It's like Inception. That kind of shit. It's annoying. Okay. I think the Doctor Strange movie is a little bit better than the Inception movie. But we were entertained by it. I enjoyed it. But I really didn't jump on the Doctor Strange bandwagon until Infinity War. And he was straight up fucking gangster G up in there, son. Like he was the fucking man in Infinity War. And I'm like a huge Doctor Strange fan, like ever since. But again, Benedict kills it in this. And it's just really funny, seeing him kind of laid back in the beginning of the movie. He's like, call me Steve, or Steven. And he calls him Steven. He's like, it's a little weird. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But Parker fucks up the spell, which fucks everything up, basically. And now other villains and heroes, hint, hint, have come through the multiverse, or their own multiverses, because of the mishap here. And we're going to get into this a little bit more when we get to the scenes with Venom at the end. We're going to get into that. And a lot of people are excited about that, and a lot of people are kind of bummed about that. And I'll explain why. And I want to know what you guys think about the whole Venom fiasco when we get to it. Let us know. Be honest in chat there. All right. So basically, again, everything's fucked up now because Peter Parker basically.
Well, at first they think they contained the spell. So the spell gets fucked up. because Peter keeps throwing all these conditions at Doctor Strange. He's like, first of all, I don't want Mary Jane. I mean, I don't want MJ, and I don't want Ned to forget. And then, I can't have Aunt May forget. I can't have these people forget. And Strange is like, hey, can you please stop fucking with me? Da da da. And he's like, okay, you've contaminated the spell. You fucked everything up. I keep forgetting at the heart of everything, you're still just a kid. And call me sir. He goes back to, just call me sir, because I keep forgetting you're just a kid.
Yeah.
And so he stops the spell. He contains it in this cube, and he sends Parker home. He's like, look, I'm sorry your life sucks. And that's when he finds out, wait a minute, you didn't even try to talk to the people at MIT to get your friends in. You just accepted it all. And Parker's like, wait, I can do that? And he's like, get out.
He's like, get the fuck out, dude.
And so Parker, he gets with Flash, who got into MIT.
Right.
And he's like, hey, I need the head of admissions. I need her name so I can find her, and I can talk to her about MJ and Ned.
And Flash who's a Spider-Man fanboy all of a sudden. Now.
Right.
Who wrote a book.
Right.
He wrote, hey, check out my book.
He's writing the coattails of everybody.
Best friends this whole time. Yeah.
So he gets the name of the lady who's head of admissions and finds out that she's on this freeway that's caught in traffic.
Yeah.
Heading to the airport, stuck literally in gridlock traffic. And so he swings over to the vehicle that she's in and starts talking to her, and she's looking at him like, I know who you are, but why are you here? And he's trying to talk to her, and that's when all of a sudden you get the attack that we obviously saw in the trailer, where Doc Ock shows up. He gets the spider sense, and he's like, what the hell, what's going on? And you get this really nice little set piece where Doc Ock shows up.
The man, son, Alfred Molina, still killing it.
It was a paycheck for him, but you wouldn't know it.
Oh, he was amazing. He was amazing. And it was a pretty good fight, man. I enjoyed it.
It was a nice meaty little fight.
Going back and forth. Yeah.
And at one point, obviously, he takes off his mask and he's like, you're not Peter Parker. That's when we start to discover that, wait a minute, what's going on here? People start to realize that we're not who we're similar, but we're not the same.
Yeah, he's like, you're not Parker. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And at one point, the tentacles merge with the nanotechnology from Stark's Spidey suit.
Yeah. And
at first you're thinking, oh shit, what's going on? Because the tentacles are intelligent, and you're thinking, oh shit, his tentacles are going to get super smart. But no, the Stark tentacle merging actually works against him because it's Stark technology. And so instead of working with the tentacles, it enables Parker to take control of the tentacles, which locks up Doc Ock.
Right.
So he's now under Parker's control, which then allows Parker to take Doc Ock back to Doctor Strange. And he's like, oh, I got this guy who says he knows me, but he doesn't really know me. And so they start to figure out that is like, I was where I used to be. And then all of a sudden I was here. And this is, I don't know this guy. I know Spider-Man, but this isn't my Spider-Man. This isn't my Peter Parker.
But right before they got whisked away, this happened. Boom. Right before they got whisked away.
Totally blue-balled the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Which was hilarious.
What? Gobby?
Right.
Gobby? What y'all know about Gobby? What y'all know about Gobby?
Right.
Finish it.
Right.
That's right. And yeah. Oh, speaking of finish it, somebody in the audience, a couple of rows from us, said that out loud.
Yeah.
Said, finish it. If you go back to the original first Spider-Man movie, you'll remember that scene. It's kind of fucking hilarious.
Right.
But making Aunt May, forcing her to pray. And she's so scared she can't finish the prayer. And he's all like, finish it. It's fucking great.
Right.
So anyway, so this all happened right before they got whisked away.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so
but anyway, first again, big pop, of course, when Doc Ock showed up.
We had a lot of cheering going on in the crowd. We had a lot of clapping. Yes. A lot of reactions.
Especially when this happened as well. The crowd was already cheering and clapping.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And then now we're back here.
Right. And so we find out that Strange has already gotten Lizard at this point. Is that correct?
Yes. Doctor Strange already has the Lizard. And it's really awesome. So everybody, he has this whole containment, all these containment cells down here in the basement, the Sanctum Sanctorum, and Lizard is already down here, and it's pretty awesome. Later, it's revealed in the movie, even the original actor who played the Lizard in Amazing Spider-Man showed up in the movie as well. I mean, they really went all out for fan service and bringing everybody in here. But yeah, Lizard's just there chilling. He's just there hanging out.
And we start to figure out that we've got this multiverse thing going on, and the spell really went awry.
Right.
And you started to attract these things, these people from these other multiverses that are coming to you.
Yeah.
And you've got to go hunt down the rest of these dudes and bring them here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to send them back to their respective places, and then we're going to close everything out pretty much. And now he basically knows about the goblin. He knows about goblins. So Peter goes, he gets his friends out. He wants MJ and Ned to help him.
Right.
So he brings them to the Sanctorum and says, okay, well, I need them to help me. And then he goes, he ends up going out looking for Goblin, but instead, he finds someone else.
But before he goes on his hunt, Strange gives him this wrist, kind of like a
gauntlet,
like a gauntlet
kind of thing, yeah.
And it's like a magic gauntlet, and as soon as he whips it at the villain, it'll transport the villain straight, or anyone, straight back to a cell. One of these cells right here. As soon as he whips it, boom, they show up in the cell. So he had to arm him first. So he's like, happy hunting, go out there. Scooby-Doo this crap, or whatever the fuck he said, right?
He says Scooby-Doo this shit.
That's right. Yeah, Scooby-Doo this shit. That's right, because in the trailer, because I watched the trailer again, he says crap in there. So yeah. Did you notice Sandman first before he fully revealed himself?
Well, yeah. I mean,
did you see him?
Yeah.
Because if you look closely, before Sandman fully reveals himself, you'll see like the dirt like go by, like Spider-Man's right here, and in the background you'll kind of see the dirt trickling, like in Tremors or some shit.
Yeah,
like a little bit. You'll see that first, which was kind of, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna reveal himself at some point.
And I think that was probably, and I'm probably gonna get disagreement with this. That was probably the one thing that I thought was a little hokey. I know Sandman's history. Now, here's the thing. I never liked Raimi's take on Sandman.
Okay.
Because they retconned the whole Ben Parker storyline and the Peter Parker storyline in Spider-Man 3 to make it that Sandman was the one that killed Ben.
He was the real one.
Yeah.
Right.
And but he was just this good guy who had a daughter, and he was just doing bad shit and blah blah blah, and they made it all complicated. But he was really a good guy, and da da da.
Right.
But he was a criminal, and blah blah blah.
And it seems like
his daughter and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And
which they kind of kept that same theme for this movie as well.
Kind of,
yeah,
but
he's a great character.
When who shows up. The one we're about to talk about.
Oh, Electro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sandman just pops up and goes, "Hey, Peter, it's me. Da 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 da. You remember?" It's like, wait a minute, you were never friends. Why are you popping up to help him save him from Electro?
Keep in mind, it's been years since we've seen Spider-Man 3.
Right.
So maybe something happened at the end of Spider-Man 3.
Well, I know.
Kind of had a mutual respect.
But
it's been a long time.
It's like I'm sure he probably didn't die a total pure villain. I'm sure that sounds familiar. But
did he even die in Spider-Man 3?
I
chat. Let us know in chat right now. Did Sandman die in Spider-Man 3? It's been that long. Let us know. But yeah, go ahead.
But it just seemed like it kind of seemed like the way they had to reintroduce him. Right. It was more for the audiences.
Okay, here we go. Toby forgave him at the end of Spider-Man 3. Okay, there we go. Okay, he lived. He did not die. Okay. So thank you, chat.
So it kind of seemed like his whole motivation for being in this film was even more pointless, because the whole crux of the villains being in this film was not sending them back to their deaths.
Well, he wanted to go back to see his daughter.
Yeah.
He said that in the movie.
Yeah, but then they could have then sending him back wouldn't have affected him at all.
Right.
They could have sent him back at any time and it wouldn't have affected him at all. So they could have sent him back and it wouldn't have affected him. So what was he complaining about? He just had to be patient and write everything out. So he was never going to die, is what I'm saying. He was never going to die.
Okay.
So
that's a good point.
What was his motivation?
I didn't think about that.
What was his motivation for not cooperating, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So the movie's not perfect. Let's move on.
So I'm just saying. I
didn't think about it like that.
You know.
Yeah.
But his introduction was a little clunky too. It was just, "Hey, Peter, remember me?" It was like,
you know, the crowd did pop though. They loved it.
But his introduction seemed more clunky for the sake of reminding the audience who he was.
Right.
Like I felt like his introduction could have been done a little bit better.
Right.
Because everybody else's intro was fine. But it was almost like, it was almost like the filmmakers didn't trust.
Right.
It was almost like the filmmakers didn't trust the audience to remember who Sandman was.
Right.
So they were almost like, we got to remind them.
To be honest, it's been a long time. Like look at us. We didn't even remember the ending of the goddamn movie. So
yeah.
In that movie's defense,
well,
he probably had to do it.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that was like the hokiest part where is, you know.
And if you were wondering if the original actor, what was his name? I got it over there.
Thomas
Hayden Church. Is that his name? If you guys are wondering, the original actor came back. Boom! Yes, sir. The original actor came back as well. So there you go. So Spidey does his thing, does his whip 'em good, whips them back to their cell.
Yeah. Oh well, Electro. We didn't really talk about Electro, but Electro, he shows up. They kind of brush past why he looks the way he looks. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
They mentioned it as kind of a joke.
There's no gap in the tooth in his teeth. There's no gap. He isn't nerdy, frizzy hair. He looks like, handsome, buff, ripped Jamie Foxx.
They even joke about how
like, why doesn't he? Yeah.
They joked about how he fell into a vat of eels and how Sandman fell into a super collider.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, we really need to be careful of what we fall into.
Yeah.
It was really kind of just like, things can be kind of silly sometimes.
Yeah. But even at one point, Jamie Foxx later in the movie, before he goes against the whole concept of being cured by Parker, even he says, I like the new me. I like, not having a gap in my tooth, and I like being buff and ripped now.
Not having the comb over.
Not having to comb over. So even he kind of talks about that, mentions it again that he looks different. He likes the way he looks now, But yeah, Jamie Foxx, I thought he was fun in the film. It didn't seem like they used him that much.
Right.
I feel out of all the villains, who got used the least? Was it the Lizard?
Lizard for sure.
The Lizard.
Yeah.
Seemed like they didn't really do that much with him.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing him, and it was nice, he was there, especially for the action set pieces. But it was just kind of like they didn't really do that much with him. But yeah, Jamie Foxx has some funny one-liners. He's like, y'all ain't gonna, realize that, we talking to each other out here in the field, and I'm butt-ass naked. You're not gonna acknowledge that? And then they find these clothes for him. The construction workers had these in the area, and they find these clothes for him. But yeah, Jamie Foxx had some funny moments for sure. But now we're introduced to, hey, okay, we caught everyone technically at the time. Let's send them home.
Well, they start to piece together. Oh, okay. Well, then they finally find Osborn.
Right.
Osborn shows up. But he's acting like Norman and not crazy.
This is fucking phenomenal. William Dafoe is the fucking man.
Right.
William Dafoe is God in this movie.
So he's having his Smeagol Gollum moment.
Yes.
Where he smashes the goblin helmet and he Smeagol's away And the next thing you see him is with Aunt May.
Right.
And she calls Peter and she's like, I think I found someone. I think I found the guy that you're looking for. And he's acting like confused Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
And for a while there, you think legitimately he's kind of reverted back to his kind of like, I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing and this and that. And they start to put together. Oh, wait, that was before.
What?
I'm skipping around.
That's okay.
Well, they do start to put together the fact that, well, no, I'm not skipping around too bad. So they start to put together the fact with everybody. Yeah, I'm not skipping around. They start to put together the fact that they all died at one point, right? Because Norman shows up and Norman recognizes Octavius.
Right.
And Otto's like, Norman, you're dead.
Yeah.
And Norman's like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. And he's like, no, you're dead. I remember. You died fighting Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
I like how they don't remember their deaths. Yeah. Even Doc Ock doesn't remember his death.
Yeah, he remembers.
They remember what happens before
he
died, which was interesting.
Right. And they all start to kind of remember, I was fighting Spider-Man and then I was here. And so they all start to kind of realize that we were about to die fighting Spider-Man, and then all of a sudden they were in this other reality.
Right.
And they start to kind of put together the fact that if they get sent back to their respective worlds, they are just going to get sent back to die.
Right.
And our Peter Parker is like, well, I don't really know if I want that on my conscience. And at this point, he's already had this conversation with May. Is like, this isn't really my problem. None of this is my problem, because she wants him to help Osborn. Yeah. She wants him to help Norman, because Norman seems like this confused old man.
Right.
And she's like, I know you'll do the right thing. And so Doctor Strange is like, look.
Yeah, he's like, this is their fate.
Yeah,
he's like, we can't change it. They have to go back.
Right.
Even if they go back and die.
Right.
You can't change and rescue everyone. This is their fate. They have to go back. And then we have this altercation. It was very entertaining altercation between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, which was really entertaining. It's pretty badass. And he tries to take the magic MacGuffin that can send everybody back to their time in multiverses. Very entertaining, and great special effects.
Really do love about the potential of the Doctor Strange universe, which is take the world around them, which is something I'm really looking forward to in the next Doctor Strange film.
Right.
Take the world around them and just flip it on itself and just utilize the world as a playground.
No, it's just Inception.
Fair enough. Take the building blocks of what Inception did and build on it and make it.
Stop saying that.
Just keep going with it.
Yeah.
And they really, really outdid themselves with this fight.
Oh yeah.
And it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to see them play around with what you could do with the reality in the mirror universe, or not the mirror universe, but the mirror world.
Yeah.
And just to see how much fun they had with that.
Oh,
and to see how creative they got with that. It was just a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And that went on for a while. And at one point, Spider-Man figures out that it's geometry, how it works. And he traps Doctor Strange in the Grand Canyon.
I know.
And he gets out and he's like, I don't know how much time we have, but I think I might be able to figure out a way to help you guys. And they're all, of course.
And technically, he kind of beat Doctor Strange.
Right.
He even says that. He's like, I think I just beat Doctor Strange.
Right. And of course, they're all dubious as to how they can help,
cure the villains. Yeah.
And why he's going to help them. But MJ and Ned are like, well, that's not who he is. He's not going to just send you back to your deaths. That's not who he is.
Right.
So, he wants to figure out a way to help them.
Right.
And so now we've got our little mission of, can we help these guys not send them back to their deaths? So that was an interesting little.
Also, I want to point this out, chat. I thought it was interesting that once this scene happened in the movie, somehow Parker was able to get back to his body to control his body. So even though he was kind of casted out of his body, he was still able to control it in a way where Strange is trying to grab the box and he's moving it. And Doctor Strange is like, this is not possible. How is this possible?
That was never explained. But that was very interesting. Like,
Yeah.
nobody knew how that was working. Like,
maybe it was the spider sense had something to do with it.
we don't know.
I don't know,
but it
was
happened.
it was kind of
funny as hell to watch
Yeah.
because it's literally just and then the next thing you see is Peter swimming back to his body. Again, very amusing.
Yeah, very fun for sure. All right, so now it's the time to cure the villains sequence. So he even brings all of them back to they're in Happy's apartment now, right? Because they had to get away from all the crazy Mysterio fanboys. So are we going to get to the next big reveals, or we're going to talk about everything that happens in the apartment complex, and then the big death, and then we'll go to what Ned was doing? When you want to go into that? You want to do what Ned was doing first and then the apartment complex? Or?
I guess we can get into what Ned was doing.
Okay. So let's see here. Something odd happens earlier when they him and Ned are kind of Spider-Man and Ned are like doing their fist bump, thing, and they're doing all the thing. You hear an electrical surge. You hear in Ned's hand. It's weird. And then he ends up giving Ned what did he give Ned? He gave him a magical MacGuffin. That's what I'm going to call it for now. That can open up. Help me out here. Portals. I can open up portals.
Didn't he take it? Did he take it or he gave it to him?
I'm trying to remember. Help me out, chat.
I thought he took it.
Okay, he took it then. We'll go with that. Ned came across it. He has the he has the MacGuffin that can open up portals, apparently. And it was kind of out of accident. It was accidental. Because Mary Jane, at some point, Parker gives Mary Jane the box that could send all the villains back to their deaths. And at some point, she's like, I'm just going to press it. I'm just going to do it, send everybody back, And, because they couldn't get a hold of Parker. So that happened after the apartment complex. So we should have talked about it. All right, we're going to talk about the apartment complex first.
They're all in the apartment.
Okay.
And Peter discovers that the reason Octavio is our Otto Octavius is messed up is because the chip in the base of his skull that controls the tentacles is fried,
right?
And it's causing him to be miserable. And the tentacles are what took over him when he's supposed to be in control of the tentacles, and so he wants to fix the chip,
right?
And he's working with Osborn to kind of like fix everything. So he finds he already found this thing in the corner of the apartment that has Stark stuff in it, and he gets it working, and he creates this thing to fix the chip. And so he gets Otto strung up, and Otto's like, no, I don't want to do it. And so he fixes the chip, and all of a sudden Octavius is like, hey, I feel better.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, huh, what do you know?
Right.
And
he's cured.
Yeah.
He's in control of himself again.
And we're all kind of like, oh, that's no, okay. Is this real? Is this not? And then all of a sudden, Peter's and
he goes to Electro next.
Well,
and he's on the verge.
And he puts this thing on his chest, and he says, okay, so this is going to take some time, and I'm going to come back to you later, but it's basically going to like take all the energy out, all the electricity out of your body, not the stuff that'll keep you running, but it's going to eventually, and you can see he's also creating this green stuff that is probably going to eventually cure
Norman.
Right.
Yeah.
And eventually they'll get to Lizard because he's in a van somewhere downstairs. He didn't want to come upstairs because he's Lizard. And we don't need him right now.
Yeah.
And Sandman just wants to get back to his daughter. He doesn't give a fuck. And because that was his only motivation in part 3. So who cares? So at one point, Peter's Spidey sense starts going off. And he doesn't know who's doing it. He doesn't know who's triggering it.
This was great. So this was great because the camera view shows Peter Parker from the front, and you're following him throughout the apartment complex. And he Spider sense is tangling. It's tangling, baby.
Right.
And he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, "What the fuck? I'm in front of everybody. What is going on?" And then
and
this is great.
He like all of a sudden he like looks over. And it boils down to like, what is it? Is it Ock and Norman? or no, it's Electro and Norman, I think. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" I
Yeah.
think Electro is.
Right.
And he spits his web at Norman, and Norman's like, "Ah."
Yeah.
You know, he's like, "Aha, you caught me."
Right.
And Aunt May starts to like pick up on what's going on. And so she starts gathering all the stuff that Peter was making, and she starts bagging it.
Yeah.
And she basically starts getting ready to run.
Mm-hmm.
And
this was good.
Basically, man. Norman, you know, Defoe is Defoeing, and he's
gobby, man.
He's ramping up
his he's gobby.
He's ramping up his shit, you know. I swear it's fucking Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And the shit starts going down, and Peter tells May, "Run, get the hell out of here."
Right.
And at one point, you know, Electro kind of snaps, and he goes to Ock. He's like, "I liked you better before," and he pushes him out the window.
Yeah.
Things just start to go crazy. You know, Electro rips off his thing. He ends up getting the Stark technology, slaps it on him, so he ends up turning into like classic Electro.
Yeah.
That's when he gets like the yellow shit and the, you know, the classic more look on him.
Yeah.
Everybody basically just goes full villain.
Yeah, Sam is like fucking him out.
But
Lizard breaks out of the van.
Ock is the only one who doesn't go villain, because he kind of like has to go lick his wounds and run.
Right.
And
then we had the fight, son. We had the first fight, 1-on-1, mano y mano, son. Woo!
Right.
Woo! Scratches the itch.
Right.
Scratches the itch. Yo.
Right.
Gobby power bomb Spider-Man
Right.
through multiple floors of the building. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
And now,
are you kidding me right now?
I know this is more kind of a,
oh my god,
not necessarily a traditional, more looking goblin, but it is a hooded goblin.
Yeah, it was kind of like
it's
a mixture of he looks more like traditional goblin,
except he doesn't have
the mask.
But Defoe's face is good enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he doesn't need the mask.
Yeah, because it's Defoe.
Some people
look at that face.
Some people pointed out the fact that he actually looks scarier without the mask.
Because it's Defoe.
With the mask.
Defoe is a beautiful man.
Favorite part of the fight, besides the fucking power bomb through the fucking multiple floors of the building. Are you kidding? Are you serious? You're kidding me right now? Favorite part of the fight, because Defoe is God in this. He's God. There's a part where Spider-Man's pulling the Tony Jaa from on Bach, gets up on top of Goblin and starts elbowing the shit out of him. And then he gets on top and he starts punching the shit out of him, like wham, wham, wham. And Goblin's like, oh my God. She perked up because she loves that kind of shit. He was like, look,
it's Defoe.
Seriously, it's fucking great.
It's Defoe.
It is great. Oh my God. And so first altercation was just amazing, just beat down, brawling. I was like, this is what I came for, son.
So they all end up on the ground floor of the building complex, and it boils down to Goblin, Peter, and Aunt May, who still has the bag of goodies.
Yeah.
And it's just the three of them.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening, Goblin ends up out. He ends up with his power glider, his glider outside.
Yeah.
He's beaten the absolute shit out of Parker. Like Parker is
it's amazing.
Fucked up. And May has to get up and grab like a metal pipe or some shit. Like she's ready to throw down, like she can only do so much. So she's like trying to defend Peter as best she can. And then all of a sudden Goblin gets his glider and just rams the shit out of May. And as he's about to bail, he like grabs one of his bombs and Peter tries to get it out of the way, but it does blow up like right next to Aunt May. Now, Goblin bounces, he leaves, and May gets up and gets Peter to get up. And at one point I'm thinking, May should be fucking dead.
Yeah, she should be dead,
like
crippled.
She's standing up and trying to get Peter to get up so they can run. And I'm like, man, May should be fucking like blown to bits. She should be like impaled. Like, how is she
or at
standing
least seriously injured? Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, May collapses, and I'm like, ooh, really, Marvel? Are we
Marvel? Marvel, are we bringing in some balls?
Are we really doing this?
Are we waxing the balls?
And
is that what we're doing?
And Peter like grabs her side, and there's like all this blood on her side. I'm like, oh, really now? Are we really going to do this with a character that we've actually had a lot of time with?
Yeah.
And you
Good
get
job,
this
Marvel.
moment,
Yes.
and she's already given the "with great power comes great responsibility" line. I'm like,
which we should have probably known from there. She was probably going to die.
but I'm just
Still.
like, are we really doing this? Like, are we really having an earned death? Really?
Yeah.
And sure enough, she dies.
That
And
was
we
it.
started hearing audience members going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, audience members were actually like throwing it out there. I'm like,
yeah. We were loving it. We were like, oh, this is great.
because it means people give a shit.
Yes. Emotional content, earned emotional content.
So
and still a part of me was like, I'm not gonna.
I know it's hard to trust.
Marvel,
hard.
you're bait and switching me. Some magical doohickey Doctor Strange. Well, actually, I have this spell, Peter.
It's hard to trust
from this bottle. I'm gonna shake it up, and it's the revival spell for Aunt May.
It's hard.
Bring Aunt May back.
I'm gonna reverse time.
You never know. This might happen.
So
nope.
So the agency that's hunting down Peter at this point, they've surrounded the building. Happy shows up. He sees that Aunt May is dead, and Peter's like over her body just crying, and he kind of like gets in between the agents and Peter to kind of like buy him some time, and he's screaming at Peter, "Get out, run."
Run.
And so Happy gets arrested, and Peter manages to escape, of course, and Peter ends up disappearing.
And great acting from Tom, man.
So meanwhile, MJ and Ned, they have the box,
right?
And they've been debating on whether to hit the button to get rid of the villains,
right?
Which MJ wants to, but Ned's like, no, we haven't heard from Peter, we can't yet. And at one point, Ned, because he has the magic ring, he does this with his hand, and a little flicker of light occurs, and he's like, what the hell was that? They're like, what was that? And he's like, I don't know, I just did that. And they see the thing again.
A portal opens up.
A little bit of a portal starts to appear.
Because before you get to the first huge big reveal, so Peter gave the box to MJ and he said he was going to text or contact her if she wants to. Hey, just press it now.
Right.
Our plan of curing the villains didn't work. Just press it. So they haven't heard anything in a long time.
They know something went
wrong.
Right.
And they can't contact him. So that's why MJ was like, I'm just going to press the button.
Right.
Right. And then go ahead.
So he goes, what does he say? I wish I could find Spider-Man. He says something to the effect of, I wish I'll find Spider-Man or something like that.
Right.
Because they can't contact Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And this portal opens up to this alleyway. And from far away, you see the backside of a traditionally clad Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, shit, we found him.
Like, Parker. And he turns around. He's like waving.
Yeah.
He starts running up to them.
And all of a sudden, you hear our audience is like, hey!
Oh, it's fucking great, man.
And he runs in and they're like, hey, Peter, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And off comes the mask.
Yep.
And it's Andrew Garfield.
That's right. Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man son.
And they're like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
and we get this really fun scene.
Prove it.
Right?
Prove it.
And
he starts walking up on the wall.
Well, Andrew, he's like, okay, I can prove it. And he just sticks himself to the ceiling. They're like, no, do some more. And he's like, do more than this. And Andrew, I think there's been a lot of, we were kind of like Andrew, it was kind of goofy that he didn't really make sense as a Peter Parker.
Well, people love Andrew more as Spider-Man,
right.
Not so much as Parker, because
he
was too good looking and cool to be considered an outcast.
Right.
But I feel in this movie, they did Andrew like justice. I mean, it's almost like this is a redemption film for him.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into a little bit later later.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So you get some moments with that. You get a nice little, you get some introductions, some, you get all that. Yeah, help me out here.
Okay. So anyway,
live.
Hey, we only seen the movie once. Okay.
Oh my God.
Make a long story short, they kind of clue him in on what's going on, and we get our first hint of Ned may have the gift. Ned may have a magical gift because he said something in his family something. What did he say about his mother? Something. He said something in his family. They may have magical abilities, but he didn't say that like that blatant. And even later, Doctor Strange is like, you were able to open up all these portals? And then he just walks away. So it's very possible Ned has a gift of some sort. So they kind of explain everything to Andrew, what's going on. And then they're like, this is why we're looking for our Parker. And then they look for another Parker.
They look for Peter Parker.
Yeah, Peter Parker. Another one opens up, baby. And baby, what?
Yep.
Holy shit.
This time it's actual Peter Parker.
Tobey Maguire, baby.
It's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So it's Tobey Maguire.
Yes.
Without a Spider-Man suit on.
Yeah, just chilling.
Right.
He was kind of nonchalant. Do you think because he kind of came through the portal, he's like, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. And he looks good. Tobey Maguire looks great in the movie.
Yeah.
Do you think
which audience members were quick to say in our theater.
Yes. Do you feel like Tobey was just kind of like curious and not really not kind of chill about everything that's going on because he didn't sense danger with that? I think that's possible. He didn't sense danger. I mean, I don't think he would nonchalantly walk through a portal not knowing what's going on. But he mentions earlier with our discussion back and forth, he mentions earlier that he realizes he's not in the same place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Andrew did too.
Yeah.
His Garfield. His
Garfield. Andrew's Garfield.
His Spider-Man did too. They both had the same experience.
Yeah.
So they all kind of get together and they both talk about, they can't find their Peter, and they both said, well, when I had these bad situations, I would go to my building, and then Garfield's Peter was like, well, I would go to my building. And so MJ is like, I think I know where my Peter is. And so they go. Yeah. And obviously Peter's devastated.
Oh, yeah.
Over the loss.
He's like, fuck these guys. Press the button.
Right.
Send these guys back. Fuck these dudes.
So
and this is where the movie works, man.
Right.
You could say all you want about the comedy and not, just too much jokes, whatever. But this is where the heart of the movie is. This is where the movie works. When you have this great dialogue back and forth between all three Spider-Men, and it just works. And it shouldn't have worked, but it's just so well done, especially when you have Andrew and Tobey come down and they all end up having this connection on that building, on that rooftop, when basically Tom's like, look, I'm going to hit the fucking button, and all these guys are dead. They're going back to their multiverses, and they're going to die. I don't give a shit. And except for Sandman.
Well, he's like,
then
he's like, it's your problem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I dragged you.
He's like, I'm sorry. Yeah. And he goes, you guys don't know what I feel. He goes, you guys don't know what I feel. And they had to set the record straight. And Andrew talked about losing Gwen. And Tobey talked about losing Ben. And all that dialogue on that rooftop together. And then Tom realizing, shit, they do know what I've gone through. And especially when they all say the line, with great power comes great responsibility. And Tom's like, holy shit, Aunt May just told me that. This is what works in this movie. This is where the heart of the movie is. And this is what sets this movie, despite its flaws, better than a lot of the others, especially a lot of the MCU films in general. And this is what works. And now they have agreed. They have agreed to work together to try at least give it a shot to cure the villains and then send them back. And this is where we have some more comedic moments between all three Spider-Men, working together. And it's funny because it's just like every Spider-Man has their own personality, even though they're Peter Parker. They have their own personality. Andrew's still Andrew. He's still kind of laid back and almost stoner-like. He's almost like a stoner nerd, He's like, and Tobey's looking at him kind of funny. I mean, you get some really great moments. And even like Andrew said, what do you say? He's like, because with the clothes Peter Parker was wearing,
called him a youth pastor.
He's like, well, if you stop, dressing up like a youth pastor or something like.
He's like, are you just gonna stay there dressed like a youth pastor? And Tobey like does that. It's like, yeah, I got the suit. He's got the suit underneath.
Really great stuff. Really great stuff. Really great stuff.
Yeah,
and,
they all three had a really great chemistry together.
Yeah.
They had this. Garfield had this really kind of awkward feeling of, I get it. I'm not the same compared to you two. And they had like this little joke between the three of them, how they were talking about their respective villains. and how Holland had gone into space and how there were aliens and how Garfield is like, oh,
and
yeah.
Toby's like, I fought an alien.
Yeah.
He's talking about Spider-Man 3.
Right. And Garfield was like, oh, yeah, the most I ever fought was like this Russian guy in a rhino suit.
Just hilarious.
And he's like, I'm lame compared to you guys. And Garfield and Toby was like, no, let's just dial it back there. Don't call yourself lame. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why would you say that?
Like, he's like, you're amazing.
Yeah, it was just so cute. It was so silly and cute. And I love the three of them together.
Yeah.
And I love films that can salvage something bad. And
yes,
I'm not saying I'm gonna go back and watch Spider-Man 3 and love it, and watch the Amazing Spider-Man films and love it.
Right.
But anytime you can salvage something that didn't work, and in my opinion, the Amazing Spider-Man just didn't work. But there were things we liked about it, but from it that I think had a lot of potential. And now in this film basically says, hey, it existed.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest things was, at one point, the three Spider-Men, when the shit starts to go down and they're fighting the villains, was they're fighting each other separately. And Tom gets them all together and says, guys, we this isn't working. We have to start working as a team. But the good thing is, I'm an Avenger. I know how to work as a team. And Toby was like, that's great. That's so cool. What's an Avenger?
What are the Avengers?
So that means
and Andrew's like, is that a band?
Yeah. So that means that in Toby and Andrew's universe, there are no Avengers. So that's an interesting. That's just an interesting point. Is that in these other universes, not only do these other universes still exist, even though technically in our reality, these are at one point were considered remakes and reboots.
Right.
So they're kind of no longer.
And just a quick to remind you guys, this is a photo I found of them together because I couldn't find a lot of photos. Toby does not have that facial hair. So I'm just letting you guys know he doesn't have the facial hair, guys. This is just a photo somebody made up. But yeah, that was funny. Like the Avengers, what is that? Another thing that cracked me up about this scene was Tom and Andrew like totally freaking out, like, man, you don't have to make your own webbing fluid? Like, he just comes out? Does it come out of every orifice? But yeah, there was some funny back and forth for sure. But yeah, it's kind of like, Andrew acknowledging that he's not as cool as the other two, but Toby and Tom acknowledging that, and you know what? You're amazing, buddy. All right. Yeah. Stop crying. You're cool. You're cool. You're with the family. You're with the family now. It's all right.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then we spring into action. That's right. We get some. I wanted to see them swinging together more, but we do see them swinging a little bit together. And basically, they're setting up the traps for the final showdown. And man, fanboy service. But hey, that's why we were here. But it was satisfying fanboy service, though. There's a difference between pointless fanboy service and then satisfying fanboy service. And it was satisfying, man. The finale throwdown was great. We get definitely some iconic shots. And obviously in the real movie, it looks a little bit more like something like this. Because, and the whole audience cheered when they saw all three Spider-Men spring in the action at the same time against the villains. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. And Electro, he's kind of has his moment, but surprisingly, and I like this shot too. It looks very retro in a way, at least the yellow design and the mask kind of there. But Doc Ock came back. Mm-hmm. Doc Ock,
which I was hoping he would.
Pure Doc Ock came back
because it didn't make sense for him to just bugger off and not show up again.
And took out Electro. He took the thing out. Oh no, he put it on.
Yeah.
And that depowered him.
Right.
And that cured him.
Right.
And the lizard was cured. Right. And then it was only Norman left. Gobby.
Right.
Right.
So at one point, Doctor Strange comes back and he realizes that the plan that Tom had
right
was working.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh shit, well I guess I won't push the button then.
Yeah.
And the friends get involved because Ned suddenly can't close the portal because they've still got the box.
Right.
And so they can't close the portal, and so Lizard's chasing them throughout apartment and then back onto the Statue of Liberty. This ends on the Statue of Liberty, by the way.
Right.
So
which had Captain America's shield,
right,
for some reason, but yeah.
Which that ended up getting cut off.
Yeah.
So at one point, they're like getting chased onto the Statue of Liberty, and there was this really great moment where, if you remember the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, obviously, the horrible, unearned moment of Green Goblin killing Gwen Stacy occurs, where they tried, and if it worked at all, it was only because Andrew Garfield and at the time, what's her name? They had
Gwen Stacy.
They actually had pretty good chemistry.
Right.
And Garfield's acting was actually legit. Well, at one point, MJ gets thrown over the side of the scaffolding of the Statue of Liberty, and Tom Holland, he jumps over to save her, but he gets knocked out of the way
by the glider, and
he can't save her. And so what happens? Garfield rushes over and gets his moment, and he actually just swoops up and grabs MJ and grabs her and jumps and catches her on the ground. And there's this moment where he's holding on to her, and he looks at her, and he goes, and he just has this
he goes, "Are you okay?"
He has this look on his face like he's about to cry.
And she goes,
legitimately
"Are you okay?"
crying. And it's the sweetest moment, and the audience was like, you could hear the audience.
It was great.
Even I had this moment where it was like, "Aw, poor Andrew."
Yeah,
because he sold it.
Yeah.
He legitimately sold it,
and failed to save Gwen Stacy, his love, but he rescued someone else.
And it was great. It's moments like that where it's like, the movie didn't work, but Andrew's performance really sold it.
Yeah.
It was like, it was just one of those moments where some things, some people tried, and this movie really redeemed what some people tried to do. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yes. And Mr. L here, I noticed Mr. L's comment here. Thank you. I almost forgot, Mr. L. Thank you. We have to talk about this scene. So Andrew addressing Electro about him being worthless without his powers was heartwarming. But then we had a little extra there when Andrew takes off his mask in front of Electro. Jamie Foxx is like, "Oh man, I thought you were black." Right? And then what did he say? He said
there's got to be a black.
He said there's got to be a black Spider-Man somewhere. So we're gonna see Miles. We're gonna see Miles at some point. So that was cool. That was also cool for sure. But I almost forgot about that then. But let's keep going here. We're almost done. But great moment. Very great emotional moment for sure. Meanwhile, the shit's still hitting the fan around all this is happening. Because, the multiverses are breaking through here. And you see a lot of characters. Now, obviously, we only seen the movie once. But I could have sworn I saw Rhino, like our Rhino, like the classic Rhino. I could have sworn. Some other people said they saw the Watcher, like just these beings showing up, getting ready to break through to the MCU. So I'm sure you guys could probably spot it out a lot. But basically, we're on a time limit here. It's like, hurry up, we need to wrap this up, send these guys home. Otherwise, they're all going to come through here.
So everybody gets cured. And
except Gabi.
So at one point, it boils down to Gabi and Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And obviously Tom is torn. He wants to fucking kill Gabi at this point. But Toby and Andrew don't want him to go down that path. Yeah. And
before that, fight. Round 2, son. Right. Round 2. Gabi has the blade come out. Brawling, flipping, slamming, mama jamming, all right? Beat down, scratch the itch, all right? I'm a samurai guy. I'm sitting up even more now. I'm like, you going to give us the feels and the fights?
Right.
The feels and the fights? What?
Right.
Some movies that can't even deliver on one of those.
Right.
We're getting both, goddammit.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
So they're and obviously, Tom gets the upper hand, and he's just
always going for the kill.
He's beating the absolute shit out of Goblin. He picks up the glider, and he is about to basically impale Goblin with his glider, and Toby steps in and
Yeah.
stops him. And then all of a sudden, Goblin comes in and pierces Toby with whatever blade he's got. And Andrew comes in and throws Tom something, and then you realize it's the rest of the cure, because he already has one dose of the cure, and stabs him with the rest of it. And then Norman comes back, and he's like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
So Norman is basically back at this point. So his cure kicks in finally.
Right.
And so everybody's cured. Everybody's ready to go back home. And
hold on. Big Bad Wolf says, don't forget about the moment between Toby and Otto. Because they did recognize each other too. They saw each other.
Yeah, once he was cured, they had a really nice moment.
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
But did you think Toby was dead? Do you guys think, let me know in chat right now, do you guys think Toby did die? And they did some test screenings. And the audience was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You already killed that man. You're killing Toby in the same movie. And they're like, all right, let's change that.
Yeah, that would have been a mistake. That would have been
I wonder, because it looked like he died. It looked like he really died. But, you know, get that Spidey healing factor.
Yeah, that would have been too far.
But yeah, Andrew helped them back up. They had a funny one-liner, right?
Yeah.
He said something like
they had this moment. So basically it boils down to the spell. The spell that was contained in the box got destroyed, which is what cracked open the multiverses, and that's why everything was coming to get Tom.
Right.
And so Tom goes to Doctor Strange and he's like, this is all my fault. Is there any way you can just cast a brand new spell that makes everybody forget everything about me? And Doctor Strange was like, no, I can't do that, because then I'm gonna forget everybody. No one's gonna know about you. No one's gonna know you ever existed. And Tom's like, yeah, I know. It's me or the world. It's like, yeah, I know. And Doctor Strange is like, yeah, it would work. And he's like, you've only got a few minutes. And so he's like, okay. So he goes and tells MJ, goes and tells Ned, and they're like, oh shit. And so he,
he's like, I'll find you. I'll find you.
He says goodbye to the two guys, which they have a really sweet moment. And
hold on. Well, we have that funny line where he helps Andrew helps
Toby
up.
I was getting to that.
Yeah.
And so Toby and Andrew, they're like hugging, like Andrew's holding Toby up, and Toby looks like he's just kind of smiling on it. And Andrew's like, you're in a lot of pain, aren't you?
And he's like, yes. He's like, yes. And then another emotional moment. Go ahead and talk about it. Bam.
No, go ahead.
They say their goodbyes, you know, because he's getting ready to send everybody back.
Yeah.
You know, and again, this is why this movie works. It gives you the fights and the feels, man. And it was just done so well. And another big, this is a big point for me too, more for her right here. This is another big plus for this film. Thanks for the super chat, Simon Section. Did you guys notice the Danny Elfman Spider-Man score playing between the dialogue by Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock?
I had noticed when Doc Ock had first shown up, I had noticed something, and I was like, wait a minute, did I just hear Danny Elfman's music? And then it like disappeared, and I was like, am I just hearing what I want to hear? And then later on I started to hear more, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me with this shit?
Yeah.
And then for a split second when Electro showed up, you heard like a brief bit of his score, which was again from a completely different composer.
Right.
And you even heard Sandman's theme, which again,
oh really? You saw? Oh shit.
You heard Sandman's theme, which again, that was another composer. That was the third composer, Christopher Young.
I heard 2 seconds of Electros.
Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah. I heard that.
So that was one composer.
Oh, how did I miss the Sandman one? Okay.
It was the briefest of seconds.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was like, I can't believe the
Hold on a second.
What?
Sumo.
Yeah, Sumo.
Come on, dude. Dude, it's in the thumbnail. It's in the description. It's on the screen. You're fired. Go ahead. I'm just messing with him. Go ahead.
Anyway.
You heard Sandman's theme. But yeah, back to the music.
But yeah, I was really surprised again, and I guess I can chalk this up because it's Giacchino. And Giacchino kind of is, he's kind of, I don't want to say he's an old school composer, but he is of that mindset where he has taken over from old school composers.
Right.
He's taken over from John Williams quite a few times. You know, he took over for the Jurassic Park franchise.
Right.
You know, he took over Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he took over Star Trek.
Right.
Which I did hear a little bit of Star Trek in this.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he knows themes.
Right.
And so it's like,
most likely we're probably going to get this soundtrack for sure.
Yeah. So I think Giacchino is just he's a really good composer, and I'm so happy that he was the one chosen to do this, because, you know, somebody like that, to go to the trouble that they would to bring in the themes like that, even if it was for the briefest of moments, I appreciated it.
Yeah.
So it was like, even if it was just for like 2 seconds, I heard it.
It's called effort.
Yeah.
You know, it's very nice when they make that little extra effort, you know?
Yeah. And not everyone's going to care. Not everyone's going to hear it.
We love scores. So
yeah. Yeah.
But here is where, Sumo, you're still fired, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, my friend. Here's where the movie gets even more interesting towards the end of the film. The film's wrapping up now, and now nobody knows who Spider-Man is. The spell has been completed. Everyone's been sent back home to their multiverses. And now you have this interesting, heartwarming scene where, you know, Peter Parker goes into where MJ works, and he kind of has this little dialogue back and forth with her, a little awkward, but you could tell there's something there. And he had this whole spiel prepped to tell her that they used to be together and what he's been through and what they've been through. And he puts it away. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this right. I'm going to start over from scratch. He even says Ned, he sees Ned over there in the diner eating a donut, chilling. He doesn't even go over and talk to him. He's just like, you know what? I'll bide my time. I'm starting over. Let's go. And he gets his own apartment. He even creates his own suit. He makes his own suit. Very shiny. Very shiny suit. But he makes his own suit. But here's where the movie, for me, kind of sums up what's special about Spider-Man. And a lot of as much as we enjoyed Tom Holland's reign as Spider-Man, some of the complaints by the MCU army was they like Tom Holland, Spider-Man. He's fun, but he's not street level Spider-Man anymore. They ended up changing him over the course of a lot of the MCU movies, and he was Stark enhanced. Let's help out the little guy. Stark enhanced technology Spider-Man. Well, now by the end of this movie, he's back to being our beloved neighborhood friendly, neighborhood Spider-Man, street level Spider-Man. Now he's got to do everything on his own again. And I think that's the character we love. You know what I mean? There's no Stark tech helping him out. He's got to do everything by himself. And that's what makes us love the character. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they make more movies, whatever they have planned next. But this movie was phenomenal. And it's a Christmas movie, which we didn't even know it was going to be Christmas themes throughout this thing. But yeah, phenomenal film. And now let's talk about the scenes in the credits for sure. All right, so
Sumo, just go see the damn movie.
Sumo, what is he saying?
He wants to know if Thomas Hayden Church came back and said
we're not saying anything else.
If you really want it, just go to IMDb. If you're not gonna watch the movie, just go to IMDb. It'll tell you all you need to know.
Sumo is fired.
Brat, I swear. God,
you're so fired. Anyway,
Jesus.
Anyway, we love you.
No cookies for you.
No cookies though. Okay, so let us know in chat right now. We're getting ready to wrap up the video, but let us know right now if you guys are kind of disappointed with what they do with Venom, or no, this is cool. I like it. So remember at the end of Venom, the Carnage, the last film, Let There Be Carnage. Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, and Venom, they go on vacation in Mexico. And at the very end, there's a big flash and they get transported to this apartment complex here. And as you can see here, Tom Hardy's like, what the fuck? What the fuck are we doing here? So that happened probably the first time. Let me find it. That probably happened when this happened. I'm assuming the first time Strange did the spell was what started to transport people. Maybe that's kind of my theory. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. And that's when he got teleported here. Well, the very next scene is he gets up and he recognizes Spider-Man on television. And I forgot that Venom said that guy, and then he licks the screen. And I'm wondering, why did he say that guy when he technically doesn't know Tom Holland? Well, I mean, that Sony MCU Peter Parker. Well, if you think about it, before that, there was a scene where Venom basically was talking about his alien, the whole symbiote. They're part of a hive mind. So that hive mind is everywhere. So Venom from Spider-Man 3 probably recognized Spider-Man just being on television, and that's when he said that guy. This is what I'm thinking about. So Venom from Spider-Man 3, there you go, that hive mind, that's probably why he recognized at least the suit, okay? This is what I'm going with. And then we have another scene later where they're in a bar, and again, in the Sonyverse, they don't really know. There's no Avengers. So you get this kind of funny scene where they're getting drunk at the bar, and the bartender is basically explaining everything, and he's like, "So the Tin Man flying around kicking ass," and like, "That's Iron Man," and then he talks about Hulk and all that stuff, and Eddie Brock's like, "What the fuck is going on?" You have purple aliens with stones. He's like, "Aliens don't like stones," and it's kind of a funny dialogue. And then, because Venom is getting drunk along with Eddie Brock, he's like, "Hey, let's go skinny dipping," right? So he gets up, and then we get another flash right here. So here's the next flash. Now, this probably happens when Doctor Strange sends everybody back to their own universe, and then they disappear. However, right after he disappears, a small globula of Venom is left over on in the bar there. A small globula is left over. So, introducing the alien symbiote Venom to the MCU now. So now, technically, they can do whatever they want. It can go on to Flash Thompson, and he could be Venom, which I'm not really excited for because I don't really like Flash Thompson that much.
Well, it's gonna be either Topher Grace being Venom. Jesus, no.
So fans are happy. They're like, yes, now technically we have Venom in the MCU, right? But some people are pissed because the people wanted to really see Tom Hardy's Venom versus Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So now that Tom Hardy's Venom has gone back to Sonyverse, what are we doing now? So some people are disappointed, but then there's also the maybe they pull a Jonah Jameson. And Tom Hardy is another version of Eddie Brock, played by Tom Hardy, is in the MCU. Maybe because there was supposed talks of Tom Hardy and Tom Holland. Is like, yeah, we're going to work together, and yeah, we're making a movie. That's a rumor that's gone around. So let me know. Do you guys think this whole Tom Hardy Venom was a waste of time just to bring in some Venom jizz in the MCU? Or you're like, no, this is cool because now technically we can do whatever we want. So let me know in chat right now. Hold on, let me catch up to you guys. Hold on. Oh, I mean, scroll on up here. All right, here we go. Jedi says the Venom Eddie Brock scene was decent in his opinion. Okay, he liked it. All right, here we go. Thank you, Simon, for the super chat, man. It says, great seeing you two doing a review together. Now a Spider-Man, what is that? Adjacent prediction. Hawkeye episode 6, Hawkeye versus Bullseye, post-surgery with adamantium-laced bones. You think we're going to see, that'd be kind of cool if we see Bullseye come back. Hell yeah, for sure. Thanks again for the support, my friend. All right, let me go. I just want to see what you guys are saying here. All right, Autophonica says that makes sense. I think I'm on the right track. But I don't, some people are kind of boo this because they want to see Tom Hardy, but that's the thing with the MCU, you could do whatever you want, right? Here we go. Michael says having two different versions of two different Venoms will be interesting. There we go. And Mr. L says, maybe we will get a proper Carnage now in the in the MCU. So, but yeah, that's what, yeah. So this could happen, right? We could still get Tom Hardy. It's a different version of Eddie Brock, but he'll be Venom. So hopefully it works out. So, all right. Oh, well, thank you for subbing, Jay. Dead. You rock, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, and don't forget, if you wait a little bit longer, a full trailer for Doctor Strange, what is it, Multiverse of Madness or something like that? Whole trailer, the entire trailer, not just a teaser, is at the end credits. And it looks dope. I mean, Sam Raimi, let's go. Let's go. And if you guys have kept up with What If, we're trying to binge watch all of them. But we did see the Doctor Strange episode on What If, introducing us to, hold on, let me get rid of this, Doctor Strange Supreme, son. And when Doctor Strange Supreme showed up in the trailer, the whole audience erupted. They all went crazy. So, yo, evil Doctor Strange, let's go. Let's do it. I'm all for it. Let's do it. Evil Doctor Strange, son, let's go. But yeah, hopefully that's good. Hopefully it's a little darker. But yeah, that's a whole other video and whole other topic for the trailer. But yeah, anything else about the film before we give our rating? We're actually going to review it too. We're going to give our rating.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like I said, anytime you can salvage something and redeem something that I didn't really feel worked,
right?
Or like I felt like this was a love letter to Spider-Man. This was probably like the closest thing to, what was it? Into the Spider-Verse? Was it the animated movie?
Oh yeah, with Miles,
yeah,
that was fantastic.
Like
too.
This was like the closest thing live action form,
right, to that,
which, you know, that's a compliment.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah. So this was such a love letter to the other films, even though The Amazing Spider-Man they weren't that great.
Right.
But I really loved Andrew Garfield in the films.
Andrew, yeah, he was great in this.
And I felt
everybody was fantastic.
I felt he deserved better. So he finally got better. Yeah. He got what he deserved, I felt like, in this. And so it was nice that he, you know, and I feel like, you know, props to Marvel for keeping a lot of this shit secret, even though there were all these rumors floating around with Charlie Cox.
It's nice to be pleasantly surprised, man.
You know, even though there's
rumors, a magic to that.
Yeah, there were all the rumors about Charlie Cox and Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. There were so many rumors for so many months.
Yeah.
But up until the actual day of release, we didn't know for sure. Right. And it was really nice to finally kind of have some kind of a surprise. And as Jason just said, it was nice to kind of have a closure for those two characters.
Yes.
That was something I was going to bring up was, you know, a lot of times when things just kind of get rebooted and reimagined and things, it's because they don't really end on a good note. And
some people have said this, and let us know what you think of this, chat. They say Andrew Garfield had the better first movie. Toby had the better second movie, and Tom had the better third movie.
Oh, well, at this point, yeah.
What do you think about that? That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know about the first movie though thing. I don't know because it's got Gabi, and it's got a very underrated fight scene at the very end. Thank you, Looney, for the super chat. Now that this has been done, would y'all want them to do Spider-Man 4 with Toby? And you know what? I have no problem with this. I have no issue. Yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Right? As long as it's good and it's quality, sure. Let's have some more Toby movies and more Andrew movies. Sure, why not? I would love to see that.
Not if Sony's doing it. Not if Sony's doing it and MCU.
Well, we can wish for something good.
If Sony is the only one doing it and Feige doesn't have anything to do with it, no.
Right. Most likely it's going to be bad.
That's
all right. Let's rate this and wrap it up for today. All right. 3. Don't forget on our channel, 3 is average when we review or rate a movie. Out of 5 stars, out of 5 thwips. Thwips is a thwips or thwips? I think it's thwip. Out of 5 thwips, what are you giving Spider-Man No Way Home?
Probably going 4.8.
Woo! Woo! 4.8 thwips out of 5, baby. Woo!
There were just a lot of sweet moments.
Wow! Look at that! Holy shit!
I loved the redemption. I loved that it wasn't just nostalgia for the sake.
I'm drunk. There, go ahead.
I love that it wasn't just nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia.
Yes.
I
Heart was there. There was heart.
Yeah.
Fun, fights, and the feels, son. That's right. I think one of the badasses in the chat said that. I saw that earlier. That was awesome. All right. That's very high for her because she's really picky. I'm stunned right now. All right. It's the Samurai's guy's turn. All right.
You want to try that again?
It's the Samurai Guy's turn.
There you go.
I'm drunk. All right. How many thwips is Samurai Guy given? You know, you bringing up the whole motivation for Sandman was a little weird, a little iffy. I agree with that. Thank you for pointing that out. I do agree with that. That was kind of like, what are we doing with him, right? However, there was absolutely no reason for me to not give this movie 5 stars. Boom! There you go. There's no reason. There's no reason because when I'm that entertained, seeing the movie in the theater, having that crowd interaction, which was very unexpected, and I came out of the theater satisfied. I'm sure months from now, years from now, I'm sure we can go back and nitpick and do all this kind of stuff. But for me, there's really no reason for me to have that much joy and the fights delivered. Scratch the itch. Had the feels, had the score, had everything that you would want as a fan. There's no reason for me not to give it 5 stars. So, as of right now. All right, guys. You guys fucking rock. All of you. That's right. You guys are awesome. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight on a Saturday night. And like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys are awesome. Keep watching kick-ass good movies, baby. Represent. That's right. And we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm saying goodbye to everybody. We love you, baby. That's right. We love you. All right, guys. Keep watching good movies. Represent. And if you want to hang out with the Samurai Guy tomorrow, it's gonna be early, 11 a.m. Stephen Dawes, martial artist, actor, stuntman, is gonna be hanging out with Samurai Guy. We're gonna be talking about his career at 11 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific. Hang out with me and Retro Leo. We're going to be talking about The Raid, Redemption, and Interstellar and other films next week. All right, guys, take care. You guys are awesome. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Thwip, baby. Thwips.